So Samsung just dropped something massive. And honestly, the Galaxy S26 Ultra isn't just competing anymore. It's dominating. We've got benchmark results, camera upgrades, and some surprising moves from both Samsung and Apple that are about to shake up the entire smartphone industry. Let's break it all down. Let's start with what everyone's been waiting for, the performance numbers. And yeah, the Galaxy S26 Ultra just officially claimed the title as the fastest smartphone in the world. Samsung's custom version of the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 showed up on Geekbench, and the results are pretty wild. We're looking at 3815 for single-core and 11,555 for multi-core. To put that in perspective, the iPhone 17 Pro Max scores around 3700 in single-core and 9800 in multi-core. So Samsung isn't just winning here, they're winning by a pretty comfortable margin. Now, here's what makes this even more interesting. The OnePlus 15 is also running the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5, but its scores are noticeably lower than the S26 Ultra. And the reason is actually pretty straightforward. Samsung negotiated a custom version of the chip with higher CPU clock speeds. And it's not just the CPU either. The GPU on the S26 Ultra is also clocked higher than the standard 8 Elite Gen 5. So just like last year, Samsung once again walks away with the better overall Snapdragon chip. This matters because raw performance translates to smoother multitasking, faster app launches, better gaming, and more responsive AI features. And when you're planning to keep your phone for 7 years of OS updates, that extra power actually becomes pretty important. Moving on to the camera. Now, the S26 Ultra isn't getting some massive camera hardware overhaul, but there are still some meaningful changes happening. The first one is on the software side, specifically the camera algorithm. According to Ice Universe, the S26 Ultra can now capture more natural skin tones, closer to how people actually look in real life. And this is a very welcome change, especially considering how often smartphones mess up skin tones. Let's be real, darker skin tones usually suffer the most. Google has already been doing this really well with Pixel phones for a while now, so it's good to see Samsung finally taking this seriously. Now, recently we talked about the new 24-megapixel camera mode on the S26 Ultra and how it takes noticeably better photos than the default 12-megapixel mode, with more detail and better colors. There was an animation showing the 24-megapixel shot takes around 3 seconds to finish processing, while the 12-megapixel mode is basically instant. Some people took that as shutter lag, which it's not. Shutter lag is basically zero on both modes. You can keep taking photos back to back without any delay. What takes time is the background post-processing that happens after the photo is captured and saved in the gallery. And honestly, if the result is better looking photos, that's not a big trade-off. Also, just to be clear, 12 megapixel is still the default camera mode. To enable 24 megapixel, you need to download Samsung's Camera Assistant app and turn it on from there just once. After that, it shows up directly inside the main camera app. And this feature is going to remain exclusive to the S26 series. Now here's a small design detail about the S26 Ultra you might already know. The camera bump on the S26 Ultra is huge, roughly double the thickness of the S25 Ultra. To keep it from looking ridiculous, Samsung is using a dual-layer camera module, similar to what they did with the S25 Edge. Visually, it should look cleaner, but let's be honest, this still won't fix the wobbling issue when you place it on a desk. We already see that on the S25 Edge and even on the Fold 7. Moving on to Apple, because this is where things get really interesting. Apple has basically admitted defeat and officially acknowledged that they need Google's help to make Siri actually useful. Apple is reportedly paying Google about $1 billion every year to use Google's AI models. So in a way, Siri is basically Gemini in disguise at this point. And it's not just Siri. Apple will also be using Google's AI for live translation and image playground image generation, which basically means Apple is no longer going to be terrible at mobile AI. But this isn't great news for Samsung. For the last couple of years, Samsung could comfortably say they were way ahead of Apple in the AI race. This deal closes that gap fast. On the flip side, this is massive news for Google. With both Samsung and Apple relying on Gemini, Google is basically positioning itself to dominate mobile AI across the entire market. Google doesn't need to win the hardware war if they're powering the AI on everyone else's devices. Finally, let's talk dates. We already know February 25th is the Unpacked event for the S26 lineup. The release was expected in early March, but now we have an exact date. According to Korean media, the Galaxy S26 series launches on March 11th. That's exactly 2 weeks after Unpacked, which lines up perfectly with Samsung's usual schedule. So to wrap this up, the Galaxy S26 Ultra is shaping up to be the most powerful smartphone of 2026, at least on paper. Samsung secured the fastest chip, improved their camera algorithms, and they're launching in just a couple of months. But the real story here might actually be Google quietly winning the AI race by powering everyone's devices. Anyway, that's it for today. I'll see you in the next one.